Welcome to this week's QPR Preview Show, which is our Christmas special for 2022. We're looking ahead to the three festive matches for QPR, and Dave and I will also each be giving our countdown of our top three favourite QPR moments of the year. Before all of that, let's go back to the somewhat surprise but very welcome win against Preston. Neil Critchley's first game in charge couldn't have gone much better. I know you couldn't make it, Dave, but has the feedback you've been getting been positive?
Yeah, I mean, what an impressive result. I don't think any of us saw that coming, did we? Considering how they played against Burnley, the difference in performance, it was a brilliant result to get up there. From what I've only seen the highlights, I didn't watch the whole game, but I thought the midfield played really well. Really breaking forward, rather than being quite hesitant on the ball, they were pushing forward and trying to get chances. And it looked to me like a deserved win. I mean, you were there, so you'll know more than me.
Yeah, no, it was a superb performance. I know it was only 1-0, but every player was on it. They were winning their individual battles, doing the basics. It felt to me like he'd said to Clark Salter and Dunn, if in doubt, Rosed, Adoma, just drive at your fullback. Dykes was playing like a man possessed. I mean, I could go on, but we were well worthy of the 3 points. I especially like how Critchley got through to them that there's like a minimum performance level expected. If you're going to play for QPR, this is what you need to be doing. And it's like no one was really less than a 7 out of 10. And it bodes well, doesn't it, if he can get them playing to that minimum standard out each week?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to see was a performance. The Burnley game and before the break, the Coventry game, I thought were really poor. But this was back to what we can be, or the win was a bonus and a good result for us. But I want to see us playing on that all the time, win, lose or draw. That kind of effort, that kind of enthusiasm on the ball. We're a good side when we do that. We can beat anyone playing like that. But we've not seen it often enough in the last couple of games.
Yeah, you said last week, didn't you? It didn't even matter if we lost. You just wanted to see them put in a good display, and that is what we got. And it could have been 2-0 at half time, really. We were so on top. They didn't really have any efforts, and just glad we got over the line because obviously when it's 1-0, it was nervy towards the end, but we saw it through. I mean, we've said throughout the season so far that any team who can be even moderately consistent is going to be pushing for the top 6. And that performance at Preston has given me hope that Critchley can be the manager to extract that from the players because he seems to have minimum standards, like I was saying. I mean, hopefully that Preston match is now a turning point in the season. We're back in the top 6. We've got a new manager. The confidence should be back amongst the squad. And let's hope we can carry that on into these festive fixtures that we're going to look at now. I mean, starting away at Cardiff on Boxing Day. Then we have 2 home matches against Luton and Sheffield United either side of the new year. It's the teams placed 20th, 15th and 2nd as we speak. Firstly, are you expecting a similar match to what we saw against Preston with another away trip now at Cardiff?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Cardiff's a difficult one because we played them recently, didn't we? Well, relatively recently and beat them quite easily. But it's always difficult away from home. But I would expect a similar kind of performance and hopefully a similar result. Of the 3 games, you think on paper this is the one to go and win. They're struggling a bit down the bottom. They've been a bit inconsistent all season, haven't they? I don't think they've won for a little while. So I think this is one you've got to target this as a win, really. Go there, try and be positive, play on the front foot. And, there's no reason why we can't go and get a win there.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, they were poor earlier in the season. They got no wins in the last 4. They seem to be struggling for goals. But it does say that every time this season, it feels like if we point out some negative stats for a team, we lose, don't we?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Huddersfield looked a home banker and we lost that. Blackpool at home looked a home banker and we lost that. So, I wouldn't get too confident of the win. But it's a game. It's one we should be targeting to win. We're on paper we're a better side than them. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be going there with a bit of confidence. Saturday has to be a boost for them. The way they played at the weekend. Just try and replicate that kind of performance, and the results will follow, I think.
Yeah, you're right. It comes as that, doesn't it? They should be travelling there with confidence. I mean, football's such a strange game. Last week, 6 without a win, everything's negative. Now we get those 3 points, and all of a sudden, come on, everyone should have a bounce now. But that's the way it works. After Cardiff, we return home to face Luton. We, of course, lost to them in October, and we were much second best in that game. But we do have a good home record against them. They have slipped away somewhat, although despite being 9 places below us, it's only a 4-point gap, such is the madness of this league. Do you think they're just still adjusting to life after Nathan Jones?
Yeah, it's a new manager, isn't it? It's a big change for them. And obviously, I think it's only been 3 or 4 games since he's left, isn't it? When Jones left, but they're still a good side. They're a difficult side to beat. I like the front two they've got there. Morris, especially, I think, is a really good player. It's always a difficult game. It's always quite a heated atmosphere normally against Luton, and I think they've tried to take the sting out of it by it's a really stupid. It's at 6 o'clock kickoff or something like that. It's a weird time. So, but it's on a lot of people's day off. So I imagine there'll still be a good crowd. Yes, that's a difficult home game, but again, it's one you've got a target to win, really, haven't you?
Yeah. And we probably need a win because our home record's been poor recently, hasn't it? I mean, we lost the last couple of home games in a row. I feel like we need to give the crowd something to get back into it again, don't we?
Definitely. It was a really, it was like a somber atmosphere against Burnley, wasn't it? When you'd think everyone would be excited about coming back, and it's been that way the last couple of games. It was so exciting a couple of months ago, and it's drifted away a bit. And you need a few good home results to get that going. A goal at the Loft End would be nice. We hardly ever seem to score up there this year.
Only one or two this season, isn't it?
Yeah.
So far. And you think we're going to probably need to get the crowd going in that one because then it's Sheffield United that follows in the new year. They've won 3 in a row. And along with Burnley, it does feel like they're starting to run off into the distance a bit, doesn't it? I mean, it's definitely the toughest match of the 3 over Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, they're one of the best sides in the division. I think you got to fancy them and Burnley for automatic this year. They look the strongest sides, especially when they've got everyone fit. But we've beaten them once this season, so you never know. But I thought last year when we played them at home, they absolutely dominated us. I've rarely seen a home game where we couldn't get over and off for 45 minutes, and we couldn't that night. So I'm hoping it'd be better than that night, but I wouldn't be expecting too much out of the game. Again, for me, it's performance. If we can match them, give them a good game, and we draw, or if we just lose by the odd goal, it's not the end of the world, But try and match them for performance. Don't just lay down and let them do what you want, like we did with Burnley the other week. Let's try and make a game of it.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it's like you're saying, it's got to be what I said before. Critchley seems to be what saying, right, minimum levels. If we can do what we did at their place with the grittiness and every player being on it, it'll give us a shot on it. And fingers crossed we can pick up something. Turning our attentions to QPR, like I said, the whole mood around the club has changed just with that one win. And when you think that we've still got Chair, Johansson, Amos, and Roberts to come back into the side, there is cause to be optimistic again, isn't there?
There is. I mean, it's always, we're all really high when we win and we're really low when we lose. And it's always the same with QPR. But there is reasons to be optimistic for the second half of the season. Like I say, there's players coming back from injury and from the World Cup. We're in a decent position. We're 6th, aren't we, in the league? I mean, I know it's very tight and you can drop down quite quickly. And Christmas will play a big part in what our position looks like. But I don't think we should get too fixated with the league position at the moment. Just kind of keep going. There's a long way. It's a bit different to normal because we've had the month off. So there's a lot of football to be played, isn't there? I think when Bill was in charge, he made a big thing about getting to March and being in the chance of a playoffs. And I think that's still the case. If we can get to that March break and we're still in and around it, we've done pretty well, and it hopefully be an exciting end.
Yeah, I mean, he did speak a lot of waffle, but I do agree that was the one thing he was probably right on, wasn't it? That was a good point he did make. Do you think Chair's going to come straight back into the side? I mean, Adoma probably had his best game for quite some time against Preston. It'd be somewhat harsh to drop him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I doubt he'll go straight in the starting 11. I think that was one of the mistakes they made when he come back from the African Cup of Nations. They threw him straight in, and he struggled to get his form going straight away. So maybe have him on the bench for the Boxing Day game, and then ease him in over Christmas. I don't know if he's even. I'm assuming he's back now because they finished Saturday, didn't they? But like I said, they played well last week. There's no real reason to change it.
Yeah, and he's a good option off the bench, and he'd be keen if he knows he's not in the starting 11, which he pretty much always is, isn't he? He'll know if he gets 10, 20 minutes, he'll have to come on and prove himself. So I think it would be the right thing to do. Last week, we both hoped that he'd move to 3 at the back, and obviously we're glad he didn't do that. We have to presume now with these matches coming so thick and fast, it's going to be the same shape over Christmas and just a case of rotating players, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I mean, the disappointment I have with not going 3 at the back is you can't get Rob Dickie in the team. I do think we're kind of wasting him a bit at the minute. He's not playing. His contract's running down a bit. I think he's only got another 18 months to go. And I think he's someone that was a key player for us for not so long ago and has really drifted away with the change of formation. So I think that is a shame. But they played well last week with a back 4, so it would be a bit daft to change it. With the 3 games in quick succession, you'd think he'd come in for at least one of them. then you're probably not going to be able to keep the same side for all of those. But yeah, same formation again for me. The way it worked really well last week.
He probably will be back in soon because Clark Salter's probably due an injury layoff, isn't he?
Yeah.
Overall, then, so you have to go back 27 years to Christmas 1995 for the last time we lost all 3 Christmas matches. So history suggests we're going to get at least some points. Although, having said that, we haven't won all 3 games since 1967's Christmas. So be surprised if we pull that off. How many points from 9 this Christmas, Dave?
I think we'll probably get 4. I reckon it'll be a win, a draw, and a defeat. No idea what. Knowing QPR, it'll be the way you don't expect it. But 4 points is a likely return, I think.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too bad, considering all the matches are on Sky TV, aren't they? So
yeah.
Usually, I think we've only won 1 match on Sky this season. Probably that season's done with that. We don't usually win more than that, do we? I just think go back to what I said before. Critchley, if he can keep getting that level out of the team, we've got to be looking for the minimum of 4 points. Hopefully, we can get 6 or 7 to really give us some momentum heading into the second half of the season. I think if we can beat Cardiff, it takes some pressure off those home matches because, like I said before, we are struggling at home. We don't want to add even more pressure onto those home matches, do we?
No, exactly. The more points you get at this stage of the season, the better, really.
Yeah. Well, on to our top 3 favourite moments of the year for QPR. Something different for our Christmas episode. We'll each do our number 3, then 2, and then our favourite moment of the year. Dave, your number 3?
I struggled with this. It's not been a good year, is it, really? But number 3, I've gone with a win over West Brom at the start of the year. It felt like a massive moment for us. We hadn't beaten one of the top sides, and West Brom were one of the top sides at the time. It was a great atmosphere that day. Charlie Austin scoring in the last couple of minutes. It felt like that was it. We were going to get promoted after that. Obviously, we didn't. But yeah, it was just a great day. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I tell you what, right, viewers, trust us, we haven't scripted this. I didn't know what Dave was going to say, but that's my number 3 as well. It was just, it's one of those days where like Loftus Road was bouncing, the atmosphere was intimidating, and we don't get that as often as we should, do we? And obviously, a Charlie Austin last minute winner, Barbe with the blood. It's a match that lives long in the memory, and you're right there as well. We all believed we were going up, didn't we? I remember after that match myself thinking, this is it, and it did fall away after that, didn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
We've got the same number 3, so just the way it felt. Number 2, your favourite?
So number 2, I went for a recent one. It was a Cardiff home game from October, I think it was. Again, there was the whole stuff about Bill going around the time, and we went top of the league that night. And just the way we played, it was real hope for the future. I thought Sinclair Armstrong was brilliant that night. We really ripped him apart. It was one of them nights. Again, like the West Brom one, you think, hang on, something's happening here. I mean, 2 weeks later, it all gone to pot, obviously, but hopefully there's still time to actually make sure something happens. But yeah, I went with that one.
Yeah, very similar how they were both like an air of optimism in those matches, weren't they?
Yeah.
My number 2, it's not actually a win, but it was Senny Dieng's header at Sunderland when the commentator was like, I do not believe it. And the first time it happened in the league, isn't it, in over 10 years? Sinclair Armstrong's face is just iconic when it's going in. He's so shocked. So yeah, we didn't win, but that was a fantastic moment when that went in from 2-0 down. So yeah, my number 2. Number 1 then, Dave, your favourite QPR moment of the year is?
So I had that Senny Dieng one for me. That was my winner, that one. It was, I mean, there was train strikes that week, and it was a mission getting up there. I went up there with my son, and it was, I took my brother-in-law as a Newcastle fan, and I've been telling him how good QPR are, and he was sat there going, "You're not very good, are you?" When we were 2-0 down. And just that moment when Dieng scored, the away end went berserk. It was just a great moment. It'll live long in the memory. I mean, we were laughing afterwards. We went a bit mad just for a point, the way we celebrated. But it just felt so much more than that. It was just, it never happened before with QPR, a goalkeeper scoring. It was magical.
It really was. Do you know what? I did this list last week and it was my number 1, but then my number 1, like you're saying, there's a personal aspect to it, and it's actually the Preston match from this weekend because it was my little boy's first QPR win, and he'd been to some matches this year. He started going, and we were losing every single one, barely having a shot in some of the games. So to get a win for him, it was again a moment that'll just live long in the memory. I told him about singing Jingle Bells, and he was so desperate to do that, and he got to do it at the end. So for me and my dad, it was just a special afternoon, and like I say, it'll definitely be my number 1 for a long time. That one, it was a good moment. And a nice moment to end on. We've actually been a little bit more positive this week as well, so that's good. Do get on our forum or comment on YouTube with your favourite moments of the year for QPR, and let us know how you think QPR are going to do over Christmas. We'll be back for a FA Cup third round preview in the new year. Until then, we'd both like to wish you a Merry Christmas, best wishes for 2023, and as always, come on you R's.
We know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.